of spreading this is low right now.
And it is extremely rare for this virus to be transmitted from one person to another. And the genetic testing that's happened so far doesn't show any changes in the virus.
Since February of 2022, more than 82 million chickens and other birds have been sickened by this avian flu. Phil Matos is the president of the California Poultry Federation and Northwest Chicken Council. He told KTVU Fox 2 in California.
What happens is they're euthanized humanely or they die, one or the other. And then we've got to clean up the ranches, and they're not allowed to put more birds on there for a month or two.
All of that has impacted egg and chicken prices. This virus has also along the way sickened and resulted in the deaths of thousands of seals. Now goats in Minnesota have been impacted as scientists and veterinarians watch to see how many more animals and possibly people this virus impacts.
For the dairy industry and for dairy cattle, this is just, we're still trying to figure out how the virus got here.
Dr. Mike Kleinheinz is a clinical associate professor of dairy cattle production at Texas A&M University.
And what its impact will be. And the reported case out of Texas of the human being exposed, and the reports that I have read and heard that this individual was involved in the dairy industry, so would have very close contact with dairy cows. And so that could be something to it, is their proximity to those animals.
Yeah, this person is only the second to ever contract avian flu of this strain, H5N1. Do other people who work with dairy cows, do they have to take different precautions now given what's happened to this individual, or is it sort of business as usual for dairy farmers?
Well, for the dairy industry and for dairy farmers, the farmers and their employees, they're always constantly looking for ways to improve. And so for something that's been available to all farm employees has been personal protective equipment. And so things like gloves, eye goggles, and things like that, especially if they're working in environments that are sometimes less than sanitary due to things like the manure and things like that. And so this kind of business as usual, but there is an extra step of making sure you're washing your hands and doing those proper things. And so the veterinarians and the health officials working with those dairies are getting that message out and kind of re-emphasizing the need for those things in the dairy industry.
So before a person got this strain H5N1, we were told avian flu had moved on to infect dairy cows. That was last week. After what chicken farmers have gone through, what is the level of fear right now among dairy farmers or concern about what this could mean?
So obviously they're very concerned, for this and what it's appearing to be in dairy farms and how it appears on dairy farms. It's a very high morbidity. So there's a lot of cows that get sick. But it's almost no mortality. So really the cows aren't dying from this. They just become sick. And really their illnesses are very nondescript and not very severe. So they just stop eating. Farmers are tracking their ruminations through kind of like a Fitbit, essentially. They're noticing those dropping off, and then their milk production falls off from where they should be, or they're compared to their peers where they should be. And so the concern for farmers is obviously their animals are getting sick. They're, not producing milk like they should. And then now we have the added level of, is it infecting our employees or something like that? But the big concern for farmers is, their animals, aren't producing like they should be. They're not healthy like they know they should be. And they're just trying to figure out an answer. What can they do for those animals, and what is the next steps and the best steps? So what a lot of farms have started to do proactively is enhance their biosecurity. So limit the people who come to farms or on farms to those are necessary only. Those people who interact with the animals, are on necessary only type of situations. And so they're really enhancing those prevention measures between humans and their animals.
Yeah, that would make sense. You said earlier in the interview, we don't know where exactly this came from. There's always sort of an investigation, right? Or there's an attempt to find out, how did this go how did this infect dairy cows specifically in Texas and Kansas? Do you know anything about that investigation? Would you imagine part of that is, hey, were any of these cows near chickens? I imagine they're not. Are these animals pretty spaced out from other animals that might have avian flu, like chicken populations?
Yes. So there is a space between, where cattle are housed and where, say, chickens are housed. There's really not very many chicken farms here in the Texas Panhandle. And I can't think of any off the top of my head, can think about it. Unfortunately, we do have interaction because our cattle are, have outdoor access to wild bird populations. And so that's always an avenue or a risk that we have as those natural avian and species coming in, like starlings and things like that, that'll come into dairy farms. And so there's that risk of those animals maybe carrying that virus and contracting the disease from them.
Yeah.
But there is an active, the state health organizations, the USDA, several other producer allied organizations are working for, kind of an epidemiological approach as to how did it get here? How does it go farm to farm? How can we stop its spread essentially, or limit its spread between farms and among farm and then also within the farm?
Tell me more about what happens to the cows that get sick, because you were just referencing that they do produce less milk. We know that milk does not go into the supply of the milk that we drink. But what exactly happens to these cows? And do we know how, like, if a farmer has X number of cows, are they all infected, or is it just like a certain percentage of each farm's cows that are seem to be getting this? What do we know about, I guess, the illness?
So what we know is that this disease is relegated to older animals on farms. And so it's animals that have had one or two calves. So they're older animals, animals that are, in the dairy industry, we call past peak lactation. So an animal will peak in lactation about 90 days in milk. And then after that, their production slowly decreases over time. And it's cows that are beyond that also becoming affected by this. Clinically, what cows are showing are, they're just not consuming as much feed. If their farmers are following this, they're not ruminating like they should be if they have that monitors on board on those animals. Our milk weights. So a lot of farms will take a daily milk weight. So every time a cow gets milked, it's recorded how much milk she produced. And those numbers are monitored. And those cows will go from milking their normal amount of milk to milking, under half of what they did the previous milking. So those are what our farmers are seeing. So they're very nondescript. They're not sick animals, but they are not where they should be animals.
When a farmer notices that he's got a certain number of cows that appear sick, do they get separated out so that to try and stop it from spreading, or is it too late by then?
So those farms do pull those animals out of their what are called their home pens and then put them into a hospital pen. So a special pen where animals that are sick go to. And so that's where they take them. And currently reports are about 10% or less of the herds, dairies that are affected, about 10% of the cows milking actually become infected by this. So it's all, it's still a small percent of the herd that becomes affected.
Do you think, given that number, then could this eventually impact the country's milk supply, or would this have to be actually a much bigger problem?
So it will. There probably could be some impacts on the milk supply, and that's just because of the amount of milk being produced is lower, and so there's those issues that can go into it. In the Panhandle, we have a lot of larger farms, and so the milk supply in a regional area will be a lot lower. And so we'll probably have to rely on milk from an outside source to fill our production capacities. And hopefully these animals will come back into milk and start producing where they should be. But There is a risk that the national milk supply will be lower than what it was, the production-wise.
That means higher costs, doesn't it? And just to be clear, we don't, like you said, there's no antivirals for cows, or at least not in this case, right? So we just have to hope that they heal. You said that none of them are dying, right? So they're sick and hopefully going to get better.
Reports from early herds that were infected by this early on in this disease outbreak, a lot of the cows are starting to recover and starting to come back to their normal previous milk production and returning back to where they were prior to being what is presumed to be affected with this virus.
Mm-hmm. And finally, then, I understand this is just one of many stresses right now, actually, for dairy farms, right? There were wildfires recently that have killed some dairy cattle in that panhandle region known as cattle country. And now I'm reading about some farmers looking into antibiotics to treat mastitis. I'm not sure how widespread that is right now, but how big a deal is all of this to dairy farmers? It seems like one hit after another.
Yeah, it's obviously a very stressful time for the dairy industry and dairy farmers in the Texas Panhandle. Not knowing, how this is being spread adds to that angst. If you can't control it, how do you control what you can? And so that is something that does add to it. And then obviously the recent wildfires in our area and how that impacted the cattle producers in the area. And so that's just one more thing on top of what has been kind of lower milk production prices and a hard economic industry right now kind of creates a little more angst for them, unfortunately.
Professor and Dr. Mike Klenhans, thank you so much for your time.
You're most welcome.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
If we've learned anything from the headlines, it's that unexpected things happen too often. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better, and your gut knows that time is short to prepare for what's around the corner next. My Patriot Supply has helped over 2 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, emergency medical supplies, and heirloom seeds. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Do these 3 words make you cringe? Calcium oxalate stones. If so, then this message will be a huge relief, because now there's a kidney health supplement that has shown in laboratory tests to reduce the rate of calcium oxalate crystal growth by 99%. That's right, 99%. It's called Kidney Cop, Calcium Oxalate Protector, and nothing else comes close to its success. In fact, it has a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Kidney Cop is so innovative, it's been awarded 5 U.S. patents, is recommended by doctors and pharmacists, and is winning rave reviews from people all over the country. You can be one of them. Kidney Cop is super affordable. You can purchase affordable Kidney Cop today by visiting Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com. If you cringe when you hear the words calcium oxalate and you worry about reoccurrence, then you need Kidney Cop right away. Purchase Kidney Cop today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com.
These statements have not been reviewed by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Sponsored by Calcium Oxalate.
Columbo and Katie.
On Wednesday, we'll discuss the results of Tuesday's elections across the state of Missouri, plus get an update on the latest news coming from Jeff City when we talk to Rodney Boyd at 2:20. Then we'll open Closest Cabinet at 3:05.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time. Incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
It's a pretty simple concept.
It is clear to me.
Let me make this clear.
Big events.
Your news and your opinions.
We're going to get out there and be heard.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Our voices are never heard in the media. We the people will always find a way.
And it's about time that we start putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, and you should come. You should listen to many voices.
101.9 and 94.1.
Their phone lines have surely been burning up.
News Talk STL.
Led by Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers take their show on the road to Wrigley, where Cody Bellinger and the Cubs await. Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on FS1.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 3rd. This is the Fox News Rundown. Appeals court arguments expected today over the Texas law that would allow the state to arrest and deport migrants in the country illegally.
More arguments are set in the legal back and forth over Texas Senate Bill 4, which pits the state against the federal government when it comes to who has the authority to arrest and deport migrants who cross the southern U.S. border illegally. Last month, a 3-judge panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the Biden administration, which argued that the law violates the U.S. Constitution. Its 50-page majority opinion was written by the Fifth Circuit's chief judge, who was nominated by former President George W. Bush and another judge who was nominated last year by the Biden administration. Republican Governor Greg Abbott says the law is necessary and that he expects it to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Brussels to talk about help for Ukraine.
Last time NATO foreign ministers got together, the group's Secretary General proclaimed Ukraine closer to NATO than ever before. Ukraine would like to see those words backed up. It wants more military aid delivered quicker. Today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his counterparts will discuss what more can be done by Kyiv's allies before addressing the requests with Ukraine's foreign minister on Thursday. Sweden, NATO's newest member, is attending one of these get-togethers for the first time. Watch out, too, for a 75th anniversary ceremony as the alliance reaches another milestone. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
An investigation is underway after a pastor's wife, Jillian Kelly, and her friend disappeared while on a trip from Kansas to Oklahoma to pick up children. Their vehicle found abandoned on the side of the road. The pastor and his wife had reportedly been in the midst of a child custody dispute. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Wednesday, and at 4:20, we'll speak with Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation on the latest legal issues. And at 5:20, Judge Mike Carter, who's running for Secretary of State.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Springtime in St. Louis means one thing. That's right, golf is back, baby. Whether you're a beginner or a scratch golfer, you're sure to enjoy your golf experience at Sugar Creek Golf Course. Sugar Creek is a scenic and challenging course and well suited to golfers of all abilities. Located in High Ridge, just 10 minutes from 270 and Gravois. At Sugar Creek Golf Course, our courteous and professional staff has one goal: to make sure your golf experience is enjoyable. To book your tee time or to learn more about the special event and banquet facilities, simply visit sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Ken's sporting a really cool Trump 24 hat that our friend Grant sent us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Grant. I'm actually wearing mine.
What's that supposed to mean?
Because you're not.
Because we took them both home.
I did not.
He said, you can't have them having both, and then he wore it. That's why.
I did not. Vic didn't want to mess up his hair.
Hey, at least I got hair.
And you
want to go?
Oh, okay. So
you want to go?
Discriminating against follically challenged individuals.
I'm harassed.
You're harassed.
Vic Porcelli, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
I heard the call to serve, so I answered. I earned a title and discovered my purpose. I found belonging, an unbreakable bond with my fellow Marines. We fought to overcome adversity together in defense of our nation and its people. I've lived a full life, rich with meaning. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will always look after those around me. I will always uplift and support my country and my community. Because that is the promise I made. That is what it means to be a Marine. Semper Fidelis. Always faithful, always Marine.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Wednesday, the Easter Bunny showed up at the White House for the annual egg roll on Monday. President Biden promptly introduced him as the Oyster Bunny, creating confusion on both land and sea. President Rutherford B. Hayes began the bunny tradition way back in 1878. Nobody really knows why, but I suspect old Rutherford did it to annoy his wife, Lucy. I could be wrong. Anyway, Joe Biden loves the Easter Bunny because, you may remember, the giant rabbit saved him by steering the president away from a reporter asking questions about Afghanistan, where Easter bunnies are routinely beheaded. That was in 2022. Also, the egg roll put something on Biden's daily schedule, which is usually blank. Naps don't count as events. If they did, Joe Biden would be the busiest president ever. Now, rumor has it the Easter Bunny was a bit miffed that the president didn't bother to call the family of murdered NYPD officer Jonathan Diller, even though Biden was in Gotham during his wake. The Dillers got the Laken Riley treatment. Ignore the grieving family. If that sounds too harsh, I'm not sorry. Joe Biden continues to be a detached, incompetent chief executive, and no Easter Bunny on earth is going to change that. Back after this. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Cold, windy, and at times wet for your Wednesday, with some scattered showers, too. On and off rain in the forecast this morning and this afternoon. Maybe even a wet snowflake or two mixing in. More of that north of St. Louis. Highs in the upper 40s. A cold flow out of the northwest. Sustained winds 15 to 25, gusting at times as high as 40. We're dry tonight, mostly cloudy, down to 37. A stray sprinkle possible Thursday, but it's mainly dry for the Cardinals' home opener. Still chilly, though. Tomorrow's high at 49. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
What we saw tonight is America first defeating America last.
There's one man who's proven he can secure the border, and he's standing to my left, Donald J. Trump. He's going to do it again.
A Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency.
News, analysis, opinion.
I want to thank everybody.
Far from over.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Here's something that will not surprise you. Hillary Clinton said something very condescending to voters. Yeah. Okay, now what may surprise you is that I actually think her messaging could help the left and could help the Democrats in the upcoming election. So let's talk about that a little bit later on. Hey, good morning. How's that for a way to start your Wednesday? All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. As always, thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. Did you get out and vote yesterday? We're going to be going over those results here in just a little bit. Some of those key races that happened all over the area. But now that those elections are in the past, let's look forward to the August primary elections and, of course, the general election in November. You know, on yesterday's program, we were joined by RedState's Jennifer Oliver O'Connell, and she had a really interesting article on the Planet Fitness debacle, and not just why they're wrong, and of course they are, but how is it that they and other entities in corporate America just refuse to learn the lessons from other woke corporations that keep hurting themselves with stupidity. Here's what that conversation sounded like. As usual, I'm looking through RedState.com and I find a really good article on this. It just says Planet Fitness's loose policy on men and women's bathroom add to their mounting troubles. And it was written by Jennifer Oliver O'Connell, who joins me right now. Jennifer, it's been too long since you've been on the show. Good to chat with you again. Let's set the stage for those who may have missed the story. This happens up in Alaska. A woman goes into her, bathroom, locker room area, and there's a man there. He's just shaving. He's just doing what men do in the women's bathroom. Wasn't a mistake. He says, I'm gay. I'm allowed to be in here. She complains about it. And a lot of people may be shocked to find out Planet Fitness told her, Patricia Silva, to take a hike and canceled her membership because she objected to the man in the women's locker room. Did I get that right?
You got that right. Apparently, Planet Fitness is for, transgender rights, but not at all for women's rights, or, doesn't care about its longtime customer base, only cares about being a part of whatever this agenda is. It's a very bizarre one, I must admit. I said to another radio host who I talked to last week, who would have thought we'd be arguing over bathrooms and men and women's sports and all of this stuff. No one could have imagined that when we were younger, that this would be the case, but here we are.
So Planet Fitness's chief corporate affairs officer, and you quote this in your article, they say, as the home of the judgment-free zone, Planet Fitness is committed to creating an inclusive environment, basically saying, hey, the rest of us, everybody else, you need to get with the times. And this kind of goes back to, I think, a lot of those corporate arguments saying we're going to use our platform to set the example and change society. At least that's what we're hearing from Planet Fitness. And this is actually costing them a lot of money in market capitalization. They lost something like $400 million over the next 4 or 5 days. Now, that's different than money coming out of their bank account. That's market cap. But at the same time, there's clearly a cost to be paid. They're doubling down despite what happened to Bud Light, despite what happened to Target and some of the others. What is it you think about the culture and climate in business and in America right now that leads businesses to say the market is angry at us, but we're going to double down on this anyway?
I really do think they believe the American people will simply ignore it and forget about it. They'll rely on people who really pay no attention to this cultural stuff, and there's a lot of them who will just keep coming to Planet Fitness, and because they think they're the only game in town. And they're not alone. Planet Fitness, 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, a lot of these corporate chains, they all have this policy of we're going to be gender neutral, or not care about what bathroom that you use, for the goal of inclusiveness and not looking like a bigot. I don't know how much money that gets poured into these DEI initiatives and these inclusivity initiatives, but it obviously must be a lot for them to be taking this hit.
Okay, so the taking the hit, like you just said, that's the market response, and the market clearly is not thrilled with what Planet Fitness is doing, or at least the way that they're handling it. Jennifer, tell me why this matters. I mean, there are people who say, you know what, you don't like it, then subscribe to a workout service at home and follow along and just do your workout somewhere else. Why make a big deal out of it? Why cancel? Why make a statement to the business? Just leave them alone. Why does this matter? Why are people speaking up so much?
It matters because you have, people have wives, people have daughters, people have friends who have actually been raped, abused, violated. There are stories, I mentioned it in the article, and there's more of them as Libs of TikTok seems to be unrolling this, of sexual abusers being in the Planet Fitness bathrooms. One exposed himself to a minor girl. The other one was literally stalking women in the Planet Fitness. And until one of the victims of that filed a police report, Planet Fitness did absolutely nothing about it. So they're really, they're making life unsafe for biological women. and there's an intentionality to this making them unsafe. And so,